It looks like Lamar Jackson is back with the Baltimore Ravens for the first time during the offseason after his ankle injury last season. He played only 12 games in 2021 because of it, and recovery definitely took a long time. The Ravens are excited to finally have him back, with the next NFL season right around the corner. We'll look at this and more NFL news in this video. First up, Lamar Jackson's injury. Lamar Jackson found out right before the 2021 season ended that he had a bone bruise in his right ankle, and he couldn't play the last 4 weeks of the season. It was really bad for the team too, because they ended up losing their last 6 games of the season. Jackson was pretty sad about having to sit out the stretch run while his team was playing and trying to make it to the NFL playoffs. Right after his injury, he focused on getting back in the game right after the Super Bowl. He quickly started recovering and rehab, and continued to post videos on his Instagram to let fans know that he's making progress. All this is pretty impressive considering a bone bruise is a serious injury. In one video posted February 2022, he's throwing routes to James Proche and Rashad Bateman, receivers. At the end of the day, he's fully recovered, and it looks like he's bringing the heat to the offseason training camps this year. Next, Jackson returns to the Baltimore Ravens. According to ESPN, Lamar Jackson is back and ready to play for the Baltimore Ravens again for the first time in his 5-year-long career. He ended up missing the 3-week-long voluntary practices and training that the team usually has. The Ravens recently tweeted that Jackson was at their facility, sending fans into a frenzy because they were clearly very excited that he's back. It's definitely going to be awesome to see him back on the field for the first time since December of last year, when he was limping through practice. We already know how much it hurt for him to miss the last 4 games of the 2021 season, but this means that he's going to give it his all this year, considering how focused he was on recovering. Jackson let his teammates know just last month that he'd be back on the field soon, and his head coach John Harbaugh said that Jackson's expected to show up for the last few days of training camp. This is mandatory for all members of the team to attend, and Jackson definitely got the memo because he's not skipping the minicamp. He had private throwing sessions in California and Florida with different wide receivers, including throwing coach Adam Dedeaux. From all this, we can tell that Jackson's taking the season extremely seriously, and fans think that there's a pretty good chance they'll do well this season and make it to the playoffs. Last year was the first time they didn't ever since he joined as starting quarterback. So what does the next season hold for Lamar Jackson? Even though not a lot has changed since Jackson was last on the field, he is in for some surprises this year. For the first time in his career, he's going to be throwing to receivers who are all under the age of 25 and are only in their second or even first seasons. This means he's going to be throwing to one of the youngest wide receiver groups in the history of the NFL, which is crazy. Of course, given his experience, this shouldn't be too much of a challenge, but it's definitely going to make the next season so much more interesting. This season might also be a chance for Jackson to prove himself, considering last season was the worst he's performed in his whole NFL career. He had a whopping 13 interceptions and got sacked 38 times. The fact that he had to miss 5 games didn't really help his case. Fans are still excited and have high hopes though, because this means that Lamar Jackson's gonna give it his all to succeed this season. Maybe his current situation will be a motivator for him. And now, what will Jackson's contract look like next season? It seems like this season is gonna be a lot for Lamar, considering that he's one of the few players in the NFL without an agent to represent him. Right now though, it seems that he's not entertaining any talks about his contract anytime soon, even though the Ravens have tried to negotiate with him. Now that he's gonna be on the field again and is one of their most valuable players, it seems that they might extend it, but only on Jackson's terms. He definitely has the upper hand in this situation. Let's look at why this is the case. Jackson might just get the same amount as Aaron Rodgers, a whopping $150 million for 3 years, because Rodgers set an example for all the current quarterbacks looking to sign. Rodgers is a 2-time MVP, and he definitely has the right to this deal, but it seems that Jackson might ask for about the same amount from the Baltimore Ravens. He's been the reason they made it to the playoffs many times, and many think that he's deserving of the same amount. Even though there's no set contract in place for the future right now, it seems that the Ravens need to sign one quickly with him in order to move forward smoothly. Jackson only recently said that he wishes to stay with Ravens for the rest of his career, which probably is a good sign for the Ravens to invest in him. If they extend his contract after this season, things will go pretty smoothly for the Ravens, since no agency represents him right now. If they don't negotiate well with him though, the Ravens might suffer the loss of a really valuable player. Next in other news, Deshaun Watson's NFL disciplinary hearing is soon. What can we expect? Watson was accused by dozens of women of sexual assault and misconduct. The Players Association disciplinary officer Sue L. Robinson will make a decision. Right now, Watson should brace himself for a lengthy suspension from the NFL after his misconduct with massage therapists. All this happened while he was playing for the Houston Texans. Only a few women are going to be testifying, and the league will make their decision based on their testimonies, since they couldn't get a hold of all of them. Right after Deshaun Watson was accused of sexual misconduct with his massage therapist, he was facing 24 civil lawsuits, 20 of which he agreed to settle. This whole situation is pretty serious, and the league is waiting for Robinson to make her decision soon. We don't exactly know when she'll make one, but it could be here in a week or could even take until the start of training camp. The NFL, of course, wants a decision to be made before training camp starts, so things can go as smoothly as possible. Even though many people think that it's quite unfair, Watson will have the chance to appeal Robinson's ruling too. Right now, we can only hope for the best. And now, Rob Gronkowski announces retirement. With 4 Super Bowl championships under his belt and an insane 11-season run, it seems that Gronkowski is ready to retire from the NFL. He announced announced this in an Instagram post, which was also a tribute to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, saying it was his dream job to play for them. Even though he didn't set any insane records, many people think his part of the legacy is being one of Tom Brady's greatest rivals, standing at 6'6" and 270 pounds. He's a matchup nightmare if you're stampeding through a secondary. He was also great at run blocking, along with being Brady's #1 target. Tom Brady is the best quarterback in the NFL, so his rivals are definitely highly skilled like he is, and people think that this is a part of Rob Gronkowski's lasting legacy. He was also just as competitive as a rookie when he first joined, catching 10 touchdowns followed by a 90-catch, 1,327 yards, 17 touchdown campaign in the next year. After all this, he earned his first Pro Bowl, which is an insane achievement for a rookie, even though his career didn't always go smoothly because multiple injuries wreaked havoc on his body. He kept going and played extremely well despite everything. It's definitely sad to see him leave the NFL so soon. Finally, here's one quarterback you should be scared of this season. The NFL has had its fair share of great quarterbacks, and it seems like there's more emerging next season who you should keep an eye out for. Patrick Mahomes is one of them. Even though he didn't have the best season of his life in 2021, his stats are pretty insane for a 26-year-old. Mahomes can shred defenses so quickly, you won't even realize when he tosses from inside and outside, even though he can throw the ball really well. The 2022 season looks like it's going to give him an opportunity to showcase his other skills. He might switch to playing more small ball, taking down his opponents with a barrage of passes from different ranges. He is in his 6th year in the NFL and seems to be refining his approach each year. If this continues in 2022 and the next few seasons, he might just go down as one of the scariest quarterbacks in NFL history because he's truly a force to be reckoned with. Keep an eye out for him. Well, that's it for today. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.